Hello. We've just heard one of the miracles of Jesus. They're so poignant. You have people breaking through the roof of houses to get to Jesus for healing, people touching him, and all sorts of things. And here we have a very vivid and dramatic story of Jesus' action to help the disciples. Of course, it's authentic in the sense that that lake is 64 kilometers square. It's the second lowest lake in the world, I'm given to believe, and it's therefore subject to unusual winds, and they've often been written about. The capacity of the sea to change suddenly and become a boiling mass of a chaos is well attested, and in my later years, having taken up sailing, I've experienced that. And last year, having had a nice pint of beer on the coastline, set out to find that the weather had turned and the mast went. And so my daughter and I and a teenager were adrift on the waves. There was a moment of terror, and it was very real. And of course, this story is about, in a sense, the terror of the change of weather in life. And we can have this glorious sunshine that we sometimes experience in life turned by us entering the kingdom of the unwell, or our bank vault being emptied in some way or other, or our landscape of people changed by the loss of someone cherished, or we face prison or some other reversal of fortune, such as a virus that threatens to do us in. I suppose, if anything, the Christian attitude suggests that the life we lead is not a very permanent one, that the real reality is that there's storm, there's chaos, there's disintegration, there's powerless, and there's pain, amongst all the joys as well. But it's that sudden shift, that sudden development of the storm that's captured in this story today, and that Jesus has something to do with the healing of it. It's just at that point that we need to know there's someone around who can ride the waves and still their rage. We can go with Jesus too and pray for others to still their waves and trouble. And I know we do in this parish spend a lot of time doing that. You may think I'm squeezing the story for effect, really, but there is experimental evidence about prayer, believe it or not. And also there's experimental evidence about the capacity for us to almost move outside of ourselves and to be in other places with people who may, in a dim, remote way, sense our presence. We're actually supported a little bit now by some of the evolving theory in physics, which says that actually such things are not impossible. They're more real than ever. And I think we should be explaining to people that something of our faith actually has a basis in reality that you can sometimes see. So when we pray, we're using a power that's outside ourselves, as Jesus guides us. His wisdom portrayed him as very much a channel for power greater than himself. And he alludes to this in the Gospels quite often. And we do well to remember that when we pray to put the weather of life more calm for other people, that we're channels, we're merely channels for a power that's greater than ourselves. And as I say, this is a part of the position that Jesus adopted. And yes, whilst we demonstrate our freedom to be loving to each other through the power of natural prayer, we're also free to wonder about the the story itself. And it may be that this was an example of what one Anglican theologian calls regime change in the natural order, the intervention of the divine in how things actually are. For others, it may be taken as a perceptual miscalculation, that somehow or other it was an effect that was observed, whilst nonetheless the emotions were just as real. For others, it may be a quirk of librarianship, so that the story is actually one of Jesus' post-resurrection era, when, of course, events were much more paranormal, because Jesus' body was very different to that of his normal one. All in all, we need to know that we can test out confidently through our prayers that the chaos that sometimes emerges in the storms that come in life can be calmed and transmuted into something beneficial, that the waves can be still and their power lost. Thank you for listening.